that you've joined us right here on Memories 96.5 FM for the program The Assembly. We get to bring you up to speed, bordering on issues, talking about the lawmakers' activities in the House of Assembly, activities of representation, oversight, and legislative functions. Yes, my name is Juliana EKPA, and I'm so excited to be here to host you. I'm not just alone. I've got with me my regular compatriot, my regular partner. So nice to see you. All right, so we are so set to go. Of course, the air is thick with a whole lot happening. Before we go to that, well, really. Okay. So because we have people right here in the building talking about erudite, learned men, justice to the issues.
And I'll leave it like that.
So stay with us. Pretty soon we will be going over to Julius. We'll ask Julius to bring us the legislative update. So stay with us just as the assembly.
Are you familiar with the legislative terrain?
the house tonight, we've got, like I told you earlier on, a couple of erudite learned gentlemen who are all set to do justice to the issues that we raised tonight. And they are none other than one of them actually is making a comeback for the third time. Mr. Endurance Bossy. He is an assembly, an assembly eye. I like to call him an assembly eye. As assembly. Mr. Endurance, how do you do?
Hello, I'm doing good. How do you do too? Juliana, it's always a very wonderful being here with you on this very interesting program. Mr. Julius, it's such a wonderful evening. I'm always pleased to be here. Good evening to Aqua Bible.
All right, and we have another very important personality. It's actually Devin, I believe so. He's none other than
Mr. Julius.
Mr. Paulus.
He is an editor. He's a public and political analyst.
All right, so gentlemen, you're welcome to the studios this evening, and Mr. Paulus, how do you feel?
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here once again. I'm not been around for a while.
Okay, but you've been here before, Mike.
Yeah, really.
Oh, really? It's not
Exactly.
All right, so good to know. And so therefore, it will not be difficult to, throw some punches at you guys. So you know how to defend. All right, so we delve into the business of the night straight up. It is no longer news that Nigerians were, bracing up for protest tomorrow, and of course, everywhere is up and tight. But security is being beefed up, to forestall any issues of a breakdown of law and order. Because yes, you have to protest, you have to say your mind, but say it in a peaceful and orderly way. All right, so today on the program, the Assembly will be looking at the protest and the House of Assembly, the lawmakers in Nigeria, especially in Akwa Ibom State, right here, when it comes down to Akwa Ibom State. What is being put in place to forestall or checkmate some of these issues. Of course, if we take our minds back to February this year, there was a protest, a similar protest, led by the NLC back then, and then they were actually calling for, a kind of laws to be made to, help alleviate the plights of the people, the suffering of the people, and all that. If I can actually remember, he was the NLC chairman in the state, Sonny James, who led the protest back then, was actually lamenting that people have been stretched to their limits due to excessive hunger and hardship, and he was actually praying. He had put a prayer across to the Speaker of the House that they should just try and see how they can make laws that will address the problems on ground, that will help ameliorate the sufferings of the people, put food on their table, and all that. If I may actually quote what he said, which maybe I should paraphrase it like, to make laws that would address the problems of the people and enable them to eat on a daily basis. Okay, so that was the situation back then. Okay. And he had actually said that the situation does not need laws that will make things difficult, that will compound things for the people of the state. And the speaker had actually come up to say, yes, we have heard there are some things that are on ground and all that. So today we were looking at, after that protest, well, how's far so far? The people there, like endurance, you're there at the house, you see the laws, what has been, going on right there. So what can you say from what you've seen so far? Has there been things that have been done, in this regard that could have, come a long way for the people of Akwa Ibom State? Because it's not about process tomorrow. I don't see us joining.
Yeah, at all.
All right. Thank you very much, Juliana. Protest, which is a constitutional thing, is enshrined in the Constitution as one of the rights of the citizens to always aid their grievances peaceful and responsible manner is one of those things, the items in the Constitution, and it's also the item that is well honored by a democratic system of government. Yes, because the protest that took place by the NLC was a nationwide protest. The demand was a nationwide demand. Majorly was seems to be about the national, but being that NLC is replicated in the states, we have the state councils. So automatically, it should involve the NLC at the state level because those major demands were mostly concerned about the national decisions, the national policies. But coming down to the states, being that they are equally affected. So these protesters, the labor leaders, visited the House of Assembly, and they also presented their requests and demands to the Speaker. And the Speaker, being a former union leader, don't forget, Mr. Speaker is also a comrade because he was a two-time chairman of Nigerian National Association of Nursing and Nigerian. He was the state chairman of Nigerian National Association of Nursing and Nigerian Association of Nursing and Midwives, Nurses and Midwives. Now, okay, and eventually became the chairman Joint Civil Service Negotiating Council. So he has on a stretch before he eventually retired from the civil service. He had been a comrade in the struggle and he understood all of that. Yes, the lawmakers, the labor leaders requested about certain laws and how the government of the day can come in to alleviate the problem of the citizens. I must commend the governor of Akwa State, His Excellency Pastor Mo Obasiana. He's a very listening governor. He is like a father. He's the right kind of person at a time like this. If you really observe, the governor has been responding favorably to this request. Like the government speaker will always say, he runs a kind of a legislature that discusses, that works on negotiation, not to be on a cat and mouse kind of a legislature, but present the plight of the people, this is it, and then the governor listens and then do something about it. I think there was a law that has been made. We've discussed this here before. The law that has been enacted by the House, it was an executive bill sent to the House by the governor because of taking into cognizance the situation of the citizens. That bill was presented and the House handled it, and that is the Bulk Purchase Agency bill. It becomes a law, and the agency is currently working.
Okay.
And the governor has been giving food to citizens. This agency now helps some of the small shop owners. Now there was a provision whereby, okay, you sell this, you get this item of food, you distribute to the citizens who will go there with the voucher and get this food, and then you, the person that is also distributing this food, you have the benefit from the government. Though these materials, government is now giving at a subsidized price, and then government may subsidize it for you, and then you now give it to this persons free of charge, those who come with the voucher. So this has been very applaudable project that the government did to arrest the situation of the citizen.
All right.
Away from that.
Okay.
Away from that, the governor looked at it and said, look, this agency that is set up is just a kind of to ameliorate. We do not want to have a constant hunger issue whereby this will keep on resurfacing. What should be done? He now said, okay, he decided to declare 2 Fridays in a month, okay, the first and the third Friday, if I'm not mistaken, working free day for civil servants. He said, return back to the farm. And then when everyone goes back to the farm, they chorus automatically
it
it will reduce the issue of high costs of food items in the market, and then people have returned back to farm. Look at Gary. You recall recently we've been buying Gary 2 cups for 500. And if you observe, if you have observed in the last up to a month now, Gary, we started buying Gary 3 cups, 500 naira. And this has also shown that these efforts that these people have been putting in is yielding. The results are being yielded. So government did that. Also recall recently when the civil service day week celebration held, the governor made very interesting pronouncements. He supported them to have their civil service week, and outside that, what did the governor do? He said no, he should give these guys support as part of to just assist them outside collecting their normal salaries. 20,000 naira was paid to each of these public servants in the state. These are the things and many other things in because of this discussion, a whole lot of them will keep coming through. So these are the ways governor has responded. Now, in effect, that is to show that Akwa Ibom as a state, which is going to be peaceful, the governor is doing his bit. Yes, the governor is doing his bit. Now, the protest here, which the citizen, Nigerian citizen, are backing on, does not really, it has to do with the federal decision, which you know there's some decision that is exclusively for the federal, not really for the state.
Okay, George, you said something earlier about the protest. Protest is being respected in the democratic setting, and enjoy the democratic setting. Yeah. So let's look at the limitations, because if we're talking about protest, and many persons think protest is all about violence. And that's why we want to dissect the truth and then let people know what violence really is. Now, please, let's try to address this question. You say that it is respected in most democratic setting, but most legal argument and other social arguments have shown that although the Constitution states clearly that it guarantees this protest, the right to protest, but it is not absolute. It is not absolute. They are limited by Section 45 of the same Constitution. That is, this freedom, if they are limited in interest of defense, public interest. So, what's your reaction to that? Because of what you said earlier.
Yes, when you know where your own rights, where your own freedom stops, that is where
another person starts.
Yes, the Constitution has spelled out the right of the citizen, freedom of association, freedom of expression, freedom of speech. All right, now you don't use your own freedom of speech in a wrong manner, making utterances that can bring down the system, the country. That is wrong. So now you have violated another section. And now freedom of association. You don't belong to a bad gang, a bad group that will bring about violence in a community, in a society. That is, you have violated your own freedom. You have violated another law. That is against that. And when it has spelled out a peaceful protest. Now look at in a situation where protest now involves carrying things like stick, weapons, guns, arms. That is not a protest anymore. And that once it gets to that level, the security agencies will have to do their work because you have crossed your boundary. Now you have now stepped into another person's zone, and the government cannot just stand by and watch you. The security organization, whose right, whose duty is to protect life and property. They can't just stand by and watch you create mayhem. What they do, they come in now because their duty now to move in and protect life and properties, to protect other citizens and societies. So there's a limit to what you do. If peaceful protest, maybe carry placards and then just saying what against this decision, and we all know this. So you don't go outside the confine of it. And the moment you do that, you have crossed your bounds.
All right, let's have him talk to Mr. Center. Unfortunately, the 1999 Constitution under Section 39 and 39 sub 1 and Section 40, as amended in 2023, guarantees every citizen the right to assemble freely and associate with others. But this constitutional guarantees the right to protest in Nigeria faces significant challenges. So let's get to know what are those challenges and how to bring an end to them.
Well, you see, the laws were made for man, but man was not made for law. You know, just like the fundamental human rights of every citizen of a country. You've got the right to live, you've got the right to personal liberty, you've got the right to freedom to movement and all of that. But there are situations and circumstances where those rights could be taken from you.
Interesting.
Like when you talk about state of emergencies,
yes,
or maybe where you use your rights. You see, when we talk about protest, let's go to the semantic implications of the word protest.
Okay.
One aspect of the word, same spelling, is to protest as a verb aspect of it. You protest, you reject a certain notion, you express your disagreements. That's one aspect. The protest, you have the stress on the first syllable, protest. When you say protest, you are talking about a process, the process of organizing men and women to express disagreements, over a community, right. So protest is something, is one of the fundamental pillars of democracy.
Okay. That means it's normal.
Very normal, very normal.
Okay.
Very normal, This
But
is
at what point does it become abnormal, like a problem?
Yeah. You see, when we blame the hawk for wickedness, we also caution the mother chick, the mother hen, for exposing her chicks to dangers.
Okay.
In my language, they say, yeah. When you want to talk about the points where it becomes a problem, you cannot go beyond, addressing the both sides. You cannot tell Nigerians, it's not possible to explain to Nigerians that the government doesn't know that Nigerians bought rice for 500 naira a cup. People who can hardly put food on their tables. A lot of workers who can hardly earn up to 50,000 naira. You cannot convince Nigerians to believe that the government doesn't know what we are passing through. You cannot convince Nigerians to believe that the government is not, to some extent, what people regard as, ridiculing Nigerians when they say, we feel your pains. Nigerians don't believe that they feel our pains. They don't believe. But for the sake of being modest, the sake of not, inciting the public against government, certain things we swallow and go. So before we caution the hawk for wickedness, let us blame the mother hen for exposing our chicks to danger. I am not supporting, and I would never support. I would not be a party to protest tomorrow.
Okay.
I wouldn't go, but at the same time, I would want to caution the government that what should be done properly and at the right time.
Okay.
I don't believe in fire brigade approaches. We are so used to fire brigade, we allow things to go wrong. And once they begin to decay, we bring police, army, everybody to run around chasing boys and men, try to put things in order when it has already spoiled. So let us begin to develop that. Let us reorientate ourselves. Let us reset our political and cultural mindsets towards, making a society that is good for all to live.
Okay. I was actually going to try to find out at what point, because does the protest become something that is a problem? Is it the way and manner it's being conducted? Fine. we may say this and this and this, these challenges are on ground, but the way we present these challenges, is it not also pertinent to look at the way and manner we tackle these issues? Because I say, well, you don't say that, how do they put that this thing is a slogan or something with the baraki kankin in our or something like that, you understand? So we see why I'm from Gide. So it's not because these problems are here. So we now begin to, we not go agree, we want to pull down everywhere. So are there not ways that we can still be heard without going with like force or violence or putting the pressure that will incite violence, that the security operatives will be running around?
Yeah. You see, I have a father.
Okay.
Maybe some of us are not. Some of us are fathers, mothers. Now, if I have a father and I know the size of my father's revenue,
okay,
I'm hungry. I know how much my father earns in a month.
Okay.
I've not paid my school fees. I don't have a shoe to wear. I don't have trousers to wear.
Okay.
I don't have pocket money. But I know the size of my father's revenue. I keep asking my dad, Dad, I've not paid my fees. I've not bought shoes for Christmas. My friends are going for this and all of that. I can't match up with my friends. If my father says he doesn't have the money to give me, if he does not have, I know he doesn't have. The way my father displays opulence, my father displays reasonable, more than reasonable wealth. I know so well that my father has enough, sufficient, and he refuses to buy shoes for me, to pay my fees. And I keep asking my father, Dad, I've not paid my fees. Dad, can you give me some money to buy shoes, a pair of shoes? Dad, I'm hungry. My dad doesn't give me food. At some point in time, I can decide to behave funny, if and only if. That does not mean I will insult my father. That does not give me a license or a ticket to insult, my father. But that could, the situation, the prevailing situation can, can induce me to behave in a manner that is not morally, accepted. Though that's not the best.
Yes, I wanted to ask, apart from going that way, is there no way? Because even the Bible says,
there are ways. There are ways.
Yes.
I am a journalist.
Okay.
I'm an editor of a newspaper. Now, if you want to take statistics of reactions to a particular issue, I did my research, my PhD research on a political reportage. If you want to take statistics of a report, public reaction on a particular issue, for instance, 7 months or 6 months, how many news items are written in 3, 4, 5 newspapers about one particular issue? That's how to test the sensitivity of a government. I studied political science and journalism, so I know how to know a government that is sensitive. I know how to detect a government that is not sensitive. Let's be very frank. I am not supporting protest. I will not go there. I don't want anybody to go violent. But I'm trying to correct things. The government should know that one day, there could come a day where we wake up in the morning, we don't see things the way they should be. I don't like fire brigade approaches to things. So now, if you want to know how sensitive a government is, for instance, that's why I like our present governor, the governor. I like Governor Moina as a person.
Yeah, correct.
Even though there are some policies he has made I don't like, they are not good. But as a person, he has goodwill. For instance, the idea of market union.
Being scrapped.
Two, being spread out. That's public opinion. That's reaction to public opinion.
Public outcry.
That's good. I give him 100% there.
Okay.
Now, two, the idea of political liberalism. The idea of being himself. It is not easy to be yourself in government.
Okay.
I brought you here, come and be like me. At some point in time, you realize that it is not the best. Fine, in political situations, your enemy, your master's enemy should be your enemy. No. In some circumstances, they are not very necessary. I am not saying you should betray whoever brought you, whatever. I like some policies of the present government, but there are some policies that would not, go down very well with our democratic and developmental processes. So I think the government should always inculcate the habit of trying to, in our language, someone that stops rain.
Yeah.
You want to stop rain, once the cloud begins to gather, do whatever incantation or whatever you do at that time. Don't wait for the rain to begin to fall before you start to do your whatever you do to stop the rain. So, in as much as I am not in support of violent protest, there's no need to even protest, in my own opinion. There is no need.
But it's fundamental right.
It's a right. In this circumstance, you see, we have not gotten to that level of political development where the government are that sensitive to public opinion. Like America, in Europe, in Europe, a governor can resign for simply being criticized.
That's true.
No, I don't want my name to be stamped. I don't like that. I get out of the office, please. I don't want to be criticized. That means I'm not doing well. But in Africa, you accept to die there, that they resign, because you want to make your money there and go. So, I don't support protest, but especially violence. You were talking about at what point? The point where it becomes violent is, that time in school, when we were in school, that was the University of Calabar. It is a Luther spirit.
Yeah.
By the time you begin to gather and talk, it's no more violent. It's not violent yet. You begin to talk, the moment you carry cut leaf, just a leaf,
Okay.
chant a song. You see, there's metaphysical implication of songs.
Okay.
There are certain vibrations that go with songs. When you sing, you talk. We know go agree, we know go agree. You see, that is the point where it becomes violent. You see a car inscribed federal government, you begin to attack. You don't even know if this person is suffering what you are passing through as well. You don't even know where this person is coming from. So I don't think it is the best to protest. And
it has gone beyond the state level. It's now a national cry, the cry on the plight of the economy. And you look at our records. It started in Kano State earlier this year when citizens came out en masse to pray over fighting hardship caused by food insecurity. And recently, like tomorrow, which is 1st August, our people are set to stand out in the street and express themselves on how things are. But there are also fears in some quarters that it could be hijacked by hoodlums to cause violence. Now, many are recalling, if you could recall, the NSAS protest that ended in violence, and the interaction with the organizers of the protest. They say that they are not to instigate violence, but only protesting against ongoing realities in today's Nigeria. How possible is the protest going to take place without violence being part of it?
You see, that's the fear. It would have been, that's why I say I don't support the protest, because I know the moment we begin to do it, no matter how peaceful we may want
some way, somehow,
there are some people who do not even understand what they are protesting for.
Okay, yes, true.
There are boys on the streets who do not even know. You say things are hard, balls, some. They don't even know balls is some. You understand? The target is that shop. They have rice in that shop.
Okay.
That shop, there is beer in that shop. We don't go there. Scatter that place. This is why I say I don't support. I am a very critical person. I am a very critical person. I would have said, okay, fine. It is our right. It's because the government, to some extent, they are not so sensitive to the problems of the people. Because once a particular issue is reported repeatedly for more than 6 months, and there is no physical and visible reaction of the government that seems to, generate a noticeable reaction to that thing. Something that is noticeable, not something they talk on the air, not something they write on the papers, something you feel, something the ordinary person on the street will feel. Then we can draw a line that government is insensitive. I'm not accusing any government, it's a broad statement. You understand? It's a broad statement. I am generalizing it. So, in as much as I do not support that, I would want to call on the government to please wake up. Because Nigerians, see, it is unfortunate that Nigerians don't have confidence in our government.
No, that's right.
Nigerians believe that the government is there for themselves, and they're not for you. That's what the average man on the street believes.
All right.
They may be right, they may be wrong.
Yeah.
That's what they believe.
Let's bring in Mr. Endurance at this point. What's your take on this? Are there other ways?
It's a house member.
Is there another way you see? He's a house member. He's still a Nigerian.
He's affected.
He's a citizen. He's not from planet.
He's a conservative.
He's affected. He's a constituent.
So what's the stance on this matter?
Especially because when you look at, is there no way we can, have protests in Nigeria and still achieve, peaceful and meaningful protest without this rancor, violence, and issues coming in, to address the issues that are on ground?
A peaceful protest is possible.
Okay.
But it's quite so unfortunate that Nigeria is still not that mature, so to speak.
Really?
No.
Don't think it is individual differences, because you talk about maturity. We have some mature people.
Okay, when we say we have,
Depends on what maturity means.
That's what I'm coming. Here. In a scale, we judge things on a scale.
All right.
Maybe on a scale of 10 persons, you have just one person that is mature. That is already a minus.
Okay.
That's a huge one now. One person.
One out of 10. Really? Very minute.
Okay.
No, like I'm talking about attending that level of maturity, understanding how, like he said, like Paulino said. There are some persons don't even understand what protest is.
Protest is.
They just say because people are it's just a time, and then you see these boys they begin to hijack things and begin to carry 16, relieve that road.
So is there no way we can have protests, but these boys don't come in? Like we are able to control the protest from beginning to end without having all these issues.
And the problem we're having is that most of these protesters, like as they speak now, ask me, who are the protesters? I don't know. Okay. We are already having faceless protesters.
It's the boys.
We are having faceless protesters. And it's on the day now that you see these persons coming out. And who are those that are being reported? Okay, let me quickly comment. The issue of hijacking this protest. Maybe some persons are having good intentions. Whilst those with good intentions are busy arranging for this peaceful protest. The anti-protesters, we are already having anti-protesters as we speak. They've already started, it has provoked some are mobilizing, issuing direct statement. If you don't come out in the street to protest, we are going to ensure that it's not only you. And they said that some people are paying them.
Okay.
And I'm worried. Why? Who are paying them? Yes. This is something
that's the big question.
That's the question. Who are these ones paying them? Who are these people paying them? So that's where the problem now is, that we in Nigeria, we are still growing. We are yet to get to that level. All right. We are yet to get to. Sorry to say this. It's always barbaric. Sorry to use that. It's always barbaric. When you see even some labor leaders who go for peaceful protest, you see them being violent. Sometimes, when you see the situation where you have to bring down the gates of a government organization, that's already violent. You can provoke the security abuse.
That's true.
So it's time each and everyone begin to sit themselves down and think of how to do these things. But then, like Paulino said, a government should not develop a thick skin. Okay. Someone suggested that why not you do a prostate on the social media? Just express your grievances. Like he said, yes. And express that all these things have been noted. All these things, before you get to this level, the cries have been noted on the social media. And the society, how the public are feeling the impact. Then they ought to have addressed this problem, not allowing to get to the level where these people in the streets. Like he said that when something is being reported in a newspaper, over time, and nothing is done about it. It's enough to provoke somebody, to provoke persons. Kudos to Governor Mono. I must say that emphatically again and again. I am among those reporters that reported this issue. issue, and they engage a lot of community leaders on the issue of market union women.
Okay.
This market union of a
Trade
trade.
union.
I have been advocating for it. Time, if you go to my timeline, scroll through all, you say that this should be scrapped. That this thing is creating problem in the state. Thanks to Governor Mono for being a listening governor, for taking into consideration the concern of the public and acting. This is what government should do. You know, we no longer have press control. There's another problem in Nigeria, and that's what is skyrocketing, causing the problem of
Press control.
making it difficult for people not to. Press control is a problem. How well have they been checkmating this? Okay, now, the issue of fear. This will be selling differently, that will be selling differently. Has government come out to make known their stand? And then what have they done? How many filling stations have been sealed? These are the things government should do to arrest this problem. So these are some of the things. By so doing now, if government have been in the past responding to the concern of the citizen in time, you know, because I won't be on covers. When these people are, you know, it's natural in man's nature. When one state is overly hungry, the person tries to endure it. At some point, the person will leave his house and try to see how he can, because it's sending a signal to the brain and it's not allowing you to rest. You look for all possible ways to try to see that you give it, you respond to that trigger, and things like this pushes people. Okay. So I pray that the government should come in, see how they can do to arrest the problem, should not allow it to escalate to that level.
All right. We would like to open the phone lines in case you want to have your contributions or your say on what we're talking about the assembly tonight. And any of the numbers to call 0803 085 7755, 0803 085 7755.
Or 0809 066 69 09, 0809 066 6909.
All right. And before I hand over to Julius to shoot, because when Nigerians were speaking, I remembered, please, call is coming in right now. If you want to call, try not to, make any insightful comments. Let's see, Nigeria is our own, Akwa Ibom State is our own. Let's see how we can forge ahead, how we can build a nation together. Okay? When you begin to do if you so, hello, good evening to you.
Welcome.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening. What's your name? Where you calling us from?
My name is Wanabasi.
Wanabasi from where?
I'm calling you from Uyo.
All right. All right. 60
What's your
seconds.
contribution, please?
Welcome.
Yes, I think my contribution is very simple. What government ought to do is to bring down the price of fuel, and every other thing like automatically take shape.
Okay.
Yes, that's simple.
Thank you. All right, it's saying government should bring down the price of fuel, that every other thing will automatically take shape. All right, so I was about to ask, because I'm looking back the years, not here in Akwa Ibom, but Nigeria as a whole, successive governments come and go, and we've had this issue of protest from one institution, not government. Like the other time we had ASU, very long, prolonged strike. That was the protest. We had the national grid being shut down. We had been having protests, different forms of series, and it's like until it gets to that point before they will not hear us. Must we always toe this path?
Must we?
let me give it that first before endurance.
Yeah, when you say, I was not a very good student of physics. Actually, I never really passed physics examination, but I remember one law of Newton.
Okay.
That says that an object remains, static or stagnant until a particular force acts upon it. You understand? Yeah, something like I keep my charger here. This charger will remain here in the next 25 years, except something pushes it to move from this point to another point. So now when you ask, must it continue to go this way? It boils down to the quality of governance. It boils down to the caliber of persons that man. You see, when you talk about government, government was a bridge, a social contract before the people, between the people and the state. There was a time the state had nothing like governance. The time when we live with what we call survival of the fittest. And at some point in time in the history of political thought, people came up. There was this kind of, we surrendered the community will, individual will, into a pool of collective and state will. We surrender all the powers into that pool. Now we appoint or elect a certain group of persons and empower them with the powers, the mandate to run our activities, to lead us, and we call them government. These people are our servants, but unfortunately now they become the master. They're not supposed to be the master. They are not. They are our servants. So it depends on the quality of governance. It depends on the mindset, the political mindset of the people we call government. That is what will determine whether we will continue to do this life or not. If we have a set of people who are responsive, a set of people who have that, the mindset, the leadership mindset, people-centric mindset, it won't even go to this point. We will not be talking. Look at civil servants. Civil servants are jubilating over 70,000 naira and can only buy a bag of rice. And it is a rumor, alleged, that Nigerian lawmakers are the highest paid in the world. I don't know if that is true. And civil servants, civil service, who is the engine room of the government, goes with 70,000. Is that not ironic? Very ironic. That's an irony. That's a ridiculous situation. So until the government begins to realize that they are the servants of the people, and until the people too know that the government whom they elected to serve them should be given some respect. You have to respect them as well. No matter how you think they have failed you, you must give them until they finish their tenure. Give them that respect. I personally have those in the government who are my mates. I don't play with them as my mates at that level. We only talk as mates when we are at home. So until we balance this equation, the people will, remain temperate in pursuing their goals, in pursuing their demands, and until the government will realize that they are there to serve. Else, it will continue to go this way.
Yes. Another thing, the major problem I am observing why things keeps going this way, I will call for the courts in covenant, the cost of covenants. When you are making the position so mouth-watering, it's, they say power intoxicates. Absolute power intoxicates. Yes, absolutely. When Nigeria begin to make governing position less attractive, it is one of the ways to address this situation. As long as leadership position governance is extremely attractive, leaders will always see it. People going there always see it as an avenue to make more wealth. And it's difficult to tell somebody who has, for the past, from year to year, from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, that you are hungry, you are very hungry. Somebody that have not tasted hunger. Or let's leave the leaders, because they must have at some point tasted hunger before getting to that level. Let's talk about their children. Throughout their lifetime, a child of 20 years have not been to the street. He has always been moving from car, going to school and taking back home. And he has not tasted hunger. Anytime he feels like eating, food is available. When you tell that one about hunger, it's difficult to understand what hunger is, what these persons are feeling. So when it gets to the time we try to make the position of leadership less attractive, until then, we'll be able to, it will be a step to addressing this situation. So I will call on government to endeavor to be sensitive enough to the cries of the citizens.
All right. Just before we wrap up, Mr. Nta, I know you said you won't be there. You know go there. They're not going to see you.
I said I go as a journalist. I'm a journalist.
Okay. So what's your advice in maybe a word or two, a sentence or two, because we're out of time already? What's a word of advice for Nigerians tomorrow?
For those that are convinced, that for those that have reasons, serious reasons to protest, they should make sure, they should endeavor by all means to be very peaceful.
Okay.
And desist from whatever would rope them into crisis, because of course you know how difficult things are now. If you are taken to the police cell, you know how that place is. So I would advise them to be very careful. I'm not saying they should not.
And what do you advise the police command to do? Because
they should not also be overzealous.
Okay.
They should not be overzealous. If they meet a crowd that is peaceful and express their fundamental human rights, they should allow them. If only they are peaceful. They should not be overzealous. That's my advice.
Mr. Endurance.
And I share in the same sentiment with Paulinus. Yes, I might also be out there to observe as a reporter.
Okay.
Yes, I might be there to observe as a reporter, and I will be very neutral in my reportage.
Will you be objective?
And objective, extremely objective. If it was peaceful, I would say it was peaceful. If it's not peaceful, I would say it wasn't peaceful. And if the police molested anyone bad, I will report as well. If they behave well, I will as well report. But in all, we should try to remember that Nigeria belongs to all of us. Akwa belongs to all of us.
Right.
Please be peaceful when you go about your protest, and make sure that you don't create violence and you don't bring down the state or the country, because this all belongs to us.
Thank you so much, my men of the fourth round of the estate. Thank you for listening to us and Endurance Passage.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yes, hearing from you guys. And this is where we want to draw the curtains on today's edition of the Assembly. It's been a pleasure to be here to do this for you. And of course, we look forward to doing this next Wednesday from 7 p.m. Until then, please, as you go out tomorrow,
stay safe.
And
violence, please.
It's kata. No good. My name is JULIANA EKPA.
I am JULIUS NSIKAK. Good night.